Okay, a little bit about us. We are a boutique design company based in Calgary, Canada. We have projects kind of spanning Canada, and we're dipping down into the United States, but we are primarily a boutique firm that focuses on restaurants, hospitality, and high-end residential architecture and interior design.
We also and hotels.
And we also have a second company called Very Very Shop that primarily deals with our procurement. So together we have quite a few things going on as MERA Studio. As designers in like the restaurant world and the hotel world, we design an experience. So coming into a space and understanding holistically how it feels from looking at the artwork, looking at the furniture, how a space flows, or for a restaurant, how your journey as a patron coming into the space, understanding how one would flow through the space and have an experience throughout their dinner and then leaving the space. So understanding the full story of how a space is developed and all those key pieces from sound to light to furniture to flow all build into the bigger kind of picture.
We tend to lean towards, trying to create eclectic spaces. We kind of feel like the more you fill a space with objects and items that reflect who you are or who even like what the restaurant concept is, you tend to create a lot more of a timeless concept for the space, and just it has a lot more longevity in design.
The same would go for residential, where you don't want to furnish a space with all one type of furniture, one kind of style. The more eclectic and found objects meeting new objects, high and low, creates a bit of an interesting space that kind of ends up spanning the test of time.
This, like, sometimes we step back and we're like, how did we end up here? Like, it's a little bit, I know, like, I think we've said in social media, it's a little bit of a pinch me moment, because sometimes we don't know how we like ended up with this awesome opportunity. Initially, this came up is that we had used one of your products, the Ente speaker, in a client's home, and somehow I think you guys had seen it on social media, some of the images of the space, and we had the opportunity to do an interview about how we use the product and just like our thoughts on technology and integration.
How interior designers and architects work with audio tech and how they integrate it into a space. And basically we botched that interview. I think it was like, we don't do that very often. It usually is at the end of a project, the AV or integrator will come into the project and kind of do their thing. And it's very separate in our world, and it generally was. And so it kind of sparked this aha moment, and we chatted with the team, who was super receptive in hearing out this crazy idea of how we can make that gap smaller.
I love it. Like, first of all, their aesthetic, when we first saw that they were doing this, it was remarkable that these Ente sound tiles had ended up in the perfect situation. And I can tell right away that they had like a completely different approach. And so when we started talking to them and meeting, I feel like we just really clicked quickly. I had come to a time in my career and life where I started noticing like that the historical technology that was designed from the past, like for those of you who've been to Leon, we like to surround ourselves with objects of technology and design that were created that really formed the pathway to how we got to where we are today. And when you look back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you have all these iconic products that were designed. In the 50s, you had mid-century consoles, and these were things that were kind of centerpieces in the home. They looked like home furnishings, and they definitely were picked by designers. And oftentimes we realized that they were designed by architects. Drawing things, I started realizing within the first hour of working with them, watching them as architects and designers draw and draft and dream, that they're the people designing the space. And I think we all have so much to learn from architects and designers. Instead of trying to meet them after the fact or trying to design products that they might use, I thought it made a lot of sense to have them design the products that they're going to specify, because they know so much more about materiality, so much more about color. And I learned so much from them. And they designed more products than I think we could ever create in the history of our entire company. Different forms. Like, think about what you think in your mind when you think about a speaker. You know, all those sharp lines. Who's designing those speakers? You know, and so just changing those forms, those functions, the soft shapes, the cast aluminum, the colorways, all those things are things we discussed.
It's that artistic centerpiece that you were just talking about, where it originally started from, and bringing it to full circle back into something that becomes this like sculptural, focus piece.
So, I mean, obviously, I think at a first glance, if you look at this, you can see there's a difference in the colors that we're presenting. In our own practice, we tend to like really be drawn to the neutrals and earth tones and things, but I think that has an even broader appeal than what we're selecting for our own work. It's kind of funny, I think in some of the initial conversations, one thing we talked about was how a lot of the decision makers, especially in residential design, are the women of the household. And that's not always the case, but it tends to be a larger percentage. And I think at a glance, when we were looking at the speakers that were out there, we just kind of felt like you just tend to see like black is one of the primary colors. You see deep, rich wood tones. And the speakers tend to have a place in the home where maybe they're limited to 1 or 2 rooms. So we kind of just like felt like there was this huge opportunity of like, how do you open the doors and how do you make the speaker more appealing to women? And I think naturally our inclination was when you offer lighter colors or you give different color options, it allows people to want to put them in less typical places in their home. Like in the kitchen, where actually I feel like a lot of people, you are listening to music when you're cooking, and put it on display or display it in a bedroom.
We had lots of people kind of come forward with their ideas when we showcased this at C-Day. We had a salon talk about how that would be the perfect addition to the salon, having the backlight, having that vanity light, having the sound. Someone putting it in a powder room as kind of this like sculptural piece that also provides light for vanity lighting. So people have envisioned this in living room spaces, kind of everywhere, in hotels, and we've specified it in a hotel conference room. So it's really versatile in where it can actually go. And I think with the color palette, having it very neutral, it can easily adapt to most spaces.
And just kind of the basic elements of design. So I love the thought that it can go as easily in a powder room as it can into a conference room.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be, made like out of the same materials as the home is made. And that's kind of what Tara and Megan brought to light, that like, this is something you got to live with.
Comparatively, we were looking at lighting at the same time while we were working on this collaboration. And I think it was always front of mind that it made sense, like if you treated your speaker like the way you treat lighting, it comes in at the beginning of the project. And really the way we think about lighting is that, I mean, it can have multiple tasks, but it's really just a punctuation in the space. So I think when we started to think about speakers that way, it just kind of shifted the perspective, and maybe that's naturally where we landed on an option that was integrated with lighting, because the fact that it's dual purpose, it gives you even that much more fun.
I think that just gets people's imaginations moving and your creativity starts to flow. And I think that those are the conversations we want to be engaged in. Like, we want to re-engage a design community, because I think it has not been connected in a really long time. But for the first time in the last couple of years, the trends are changing. And like Tara was saying, lighting is definitely kind of leading that charge. Also shades leading that charge. Our industry is embracing design. So companies like Lutron, bought Ketra. And, I saw the Ketra demo. I want to do that same kind of thing for how we bring sound into your living space. We want to make visible objects. We want to make design objects that last the test of time. And I think that the way to do that is like, what is the thing going to be made of? Where is it made? We're assembling these here. We're hand stretching the fabrics. We're making the fabrics in Michigan. These are things that are kind of custom made for you, and the artisanal kind of feel and texture of them. Like when you look at the black one, you pick it up, it's cast aluminum and it's powder coated. We call it like black sand. Like what vibration does that have? And when the warm light goes on, it gives you like the warm glow of gold. as soon as I saw it, and I'm like, I got that experience where I want it.
I hope that this opens the gate to not only just this collaboration that we've had with Leon, but opening the design and tech industry to make more collaborations. And because I think it'll be a successful hole that needs to be filled, and it's something that excites us as designers and architects.
This is all music to my ears. I just want to thank Megan and Tara for putting everything into this. It means so much to us here. It's started us on a new journey, and what's cool, we celebrated our 25th year last year, and to just embarking on a completely new journey is incredible, and my passion for this is stronger than ever. Definitely, anybody who's in the tri-state area, if you want to come and check out the stuff at ICFF, come visit us. We'll give you all the details. Reach out in the chat. We'll get you guys registered in there. And also, if you want to think about demos or showroom deals or anything you need, let us know. We're here to help you specify it. We're also here to learn from you. What do you need to do? How do you want to work with it in your control system? How is it going to integrate into your spaces? And let's just get these things out there in the market. Let's change the way we see technology.
I want to do one last thing, and that thank you to you guys for listening to this idea and kind of going for it, because I think that this would have gone unnoticed. This idea would have gone unnoticed through a lot of different collaborations. So kudos to you guys for having the guts to trust in this tiny little team from Calgary, Canada, and
Who knew nothing about speakers.
and working together to make this.